A big deal because it's hitting economically, this protest in Ottawa. It's having adverse effects on multiple industries, including the auto industry. Toyota halting 3 lines of production at the motor manufacturing plant in Canada. General Motors confirming Wednesday it's canceling its nightside production shift at a Michigan plant. It's all because of travel disruptions at the Ambassador Bridge, which we've shared with you here on NewsNation, is the largest North American border crossing and trade route between Detroit and Windsor, Canada. Joining us now to discuss this further, David Adams, the president of the Global Automakers of Canada. Good morning to you, David. Glad to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
So let's get to it. A GM forced to cancel an entire shift of workers in Michigan because of these disruptions at the border. What does that look like? What does that do to production, and what does that do for these employees?
Well, what happens is that really all of the manufacturing facilities in Canada, they have a limited amount of inventory on hand. They operate on a just-in-time delivery system, so they can generally operate sort of 1 to 2 days with the inventory that they have, and then the rest of the time they're reliant on supply chains feeding the inventory of parts coming into the production facility. So right now, I think virtually each of the 5 automakers in Canada, at least some, if not all, of their production is down, and this is a result of the blockade at the Ambassador Bridge.
Now, for those who are manufacturing the operation just-in-time supply chain, what does that mean? Can you explain that in layman terms for everybody watching at home? What does this just-in-time part of the supply chain mean?
Well, let's just say the old way of operating an assembly facility was to have inventory on racks and whatnot for days to continue to build vehicles. In terms of improving efficiency within the production facilities over the course of the last number of decades, actually, companies have resorted to the system called just-in-time, which means that you essentially have parts and components arriving at the plant essentially at the time that they're due, within hours of being put actually on a vehicle. So it's ensuring that there's minimal inventory at the assembly plants, and most of that inventory is being brought in just as it's needed when it's to go on the vehicles themselves.
There's not a stockpile of supplies or of manufacturing equipment or things that are needed for that manufacture of that vehicle just in some warehouse somewhere. You have what you need when you need it.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's occurring on both sides of the border. You have Canadian suppliers that are supplying U.S. plants, and you have U.S. suppliers that are supplying Canadian plants. And the Ambassador Bridge is really the most pivotal border crossing, one of the busiest in the world. $46 billion really in automotive parts go between Canada and the United States every year. And about a quarter of that goes through the Ambassador Bridge. On a daily basis, it's about $126 million that's going back and forth.
Do you think that this trucking protest, do you think that there are going to be conversations that need to be had? Because they seem to be digging their heels in, and it's no doubt affecting people like yourself.
Well, for sure. I mean, I think we all respect people's right to protest and to do that in a lawful way. I think I find it extremely ironic that those that are, hosting this protest, this blockade, if you will, on the basis of freedom, are actually denying other people their freedom to go to work, to operate businesses, and so on and so forth. So what needs to happen, as far as we're concerned, is that governments do need to step in and actually start to clear out this blockade, because it's disrupting not only the lives of many Canadians, but obviously, as we've talked about, Canadian businesses and American businesses as well. Let's not make no mistake here. The automotive industry has been integrated on a North American basis since 1965.
It's not going to be easy, but it's definitely something that people are paying attention to. David Adams, thank you for being with us this morning. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click on the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.